Welcome. Thank you for visiting the EventTone Wireless instructional video page. These videos have been put together to help our clients better understand the equipment that they are renting. Over the years, we've had many of the same questions pop up about different items that we rent. And instead of putting together something like a frequently asked questions page, we felt a visual would be more helpful. These videos are designed to show you the different items, show you how to use them, troubleshoot them in case there are any kind of issues. And if you do have any questions, you could still give us a call on our toll-free number. I do hope these are helpful to you, and thank you again for visiting. Today we're going to be covering something called a gang charger, or some people call them multi-chargers. These are the standard chargers for the Motorola CP200 analog radio. That's sort of the workhorse of the industry. Almost everyone rents them. We certainly rent quite a few of them, and they are very popular items. The reason why we're doing this tutorial is because over the last couple of years, Motorola and several different battery manufacturers that manufacture batteries for this radio have come up with a couple of different designs that have created confusion when it comes to charging them. People are not really sure how to put them into the charger plates, how to put them into the actual ports themselves. So we're going to try to cover some of that for you today. This radio is the Motorola CP200 analog radio. A few years back, Motorola introduced an updated version called the CP200D, which is basically the same radio, but it also has a digital component that you can activate if you wish to. It's a very popular radio. It is really the workhorse of the industry, as I said, when it comes to rentals. A few years back, a couple of battery manufacturers understood that one of the problems, one of the challenges that the Motorola CP200 had was basically just the weight of the radio. It is a heavier radio. One of the reasons why is because it has a heavier battery. Most of the weight of the radio itself is actually in the battery. So in an attempt to lighten the radio a bit, make it a little easier to carry, they came up with something called a thin line battery. Now, I'm going to show you the difference in these two batteries. First of all, to remove a battery from a CP200, if you kind of look at the bottom, you'll see this little lever. Put your nail there, push down, and the battery pops right out. That's how you take out a battery. If you want to change the battery or put a different battery in, just put that one down, take the new battery. There's little grooves here that correspond with the grooves in the battery. Put them here and then push it into place, and you'll hear it click. Now, this battery is a thin line battery. If you look at the two different batteries, this is a standard weight battery, and this is a thin line battery. Much thinner, much lighter, much easier to handle. Of course, being that it is thinner, it also has a shorter charge life. So whereas a battery like this might get 10 to 12 hours, this might get 7 to 10 hours. So you are giving up a little bit of charging time with, or I should say, a battery time for the lightness of the battery. Now we're going to address really the main reason for this video, which is the problems that this has created with the changing of the different types of batteries. There seems to have been, over the last few years, real confusion on how to place the radios into the charger ports to make sure that you get maximum charging and recharging on all of the batteries. In order to efficiently park the radio into the charger port, there are something called guide rails. These here are the guide rails. The guide rails correspond with these slots, as you can see, the slots right there on the side of the battery, that sit in the charger. You basically take that slot right there and line it up with the guardrail and plop it in. And this charger plate is not plugged in. It's really just for demo purposes. But when you do, this light right here will turn on. It'll either be red, meaning it's charging, or green, meaning it's charged. It's fully charged. And that's how they sit. They sort of sit right in the charger pocket like that. Now, all the different chargers, bank chargers that are out there have the same port infrastructure. In other words, they have guide rails here. They have 3 metal contacts which correspond to the metal contacts on the back of the battery right there. When they drop in, the two, the three contacts make contact with these pieces here, and you charge your battery. The problem is, if you go with a thin line battery, which is this one here, you'll see the slot that sits in the guide rail is further up. It's actually right up against the end of the battery, whereas this one's further in. You see it? So when you place this in the slot, it'll still fit, but you're not touching you're not touching these contacts, so you're not actually charging the radio. So the designers who made these bank chargers put in an adjustable rail. These are the two rail slots right here, as we've pointed out. If you take this, say you take these two fingers right here, and you grab it like this, and you pinch it and pull it out, this comes out. Okay? Now, if you put it back into the port this way, it charges the thicker battery. If you turn it around and you put it back in, I'm trying to do this while speaking, there we go, it snaps in, and now you can charge the thinner batteries. So that's the trick. If you look at your radio and it looks like this, which is a thin line battery, you need the guide rail to be closer to the contact so that when you place it in, the radio, these three contacts here are making contact with these contacts here, and now you're charging the radio. If you look at your radio and it looks like this, where it's a thicker, heavier battery for longer life, you need to come in here, pop this out, it's really just comes right out, turn it around, place it back in, and now you've made contact with the thicker battery. That's the key to effectively charging whatever radio you have, whether it's a radio with a thin line battery or a radio with a standard battery. We do hope this tutorial has helped. We've seen this as a problem in the past, and we're hoping that this tutorial was descriptive enough to kind of help everyone understand the difference in not only the batteries but the charger ports, and how to make sure that you get maximum recharge on all of your radios so that you can use them efficiently for as long as you've rented them. It's always a pleasure. We hope these, as we said, we hope these were helpful. Thanks again for tuning in to the EventTone Wireless Equipment Tutorial Series.